Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a whole new episode of your program Windows. In our program, we're always keen to open new windows for diverse and interesting topics. What can be more interesting than sustainable development and its impact on citizens? And first, let me welcome my dear guest here in the studio, Dr. Mohamed Azzam, an entrepreneurship and information technology expert. Good evening, sir. Welcome to my studio.
Thank you. Always pleasure and honor being with you. Thank you so much.
Well, sir, of course, the sustainable development and its impact, its diversity, always tackles different and diverse parts from the society and from different fields. And of course, Egypt been enhancing this statement hardly even in the agenda of 2030 agenda, its vision for the future. It's always related to sustainable development and the impact and the diversity of it. So let's first talk about it, and then from there we'll go and speak with you about the different topics, of course, and the diversity of it.
Thank you so much for this question. Actually, it's a very important question because sustainable development is, I would say, the main objective for any nation. We are living in a very competitive world, and of course sustainable development is a key issue to be part of the competitiveness race actually among different nations. And if you look at any sustainable development, it's empowered by public policy that and has three main pillars. One of them is the economic development, the second one is the technology development, and the third one is the trade systems. So combining the three pillars together, this will give you the opportunity to sustain your development, to have the ability to grow at decent pace, and also to have or to accomplish the overall objective of any nation is the increasing your GDP, increasing the quality of life for citizen, easing the environment for conducting businesses, opening new opportunities, opening new vista for innovation, opening new venues for employment for youth and women empowerment, and so on and so forth. And of course, if you look at Egypt 2030 vision when it comes to all its pillars as well, the economic sector or the economic development sector, or for having solidarity, the infrastructure. Actually, infrastructure is very key thing. You cannot have sustainable development without infrastructure. This is actually, it's a very fundamental for any economic development here in Egypt or all over the world. You cannot grow your economy, you cannot open new horizons for your economy, for the business to grow, for the so many different even industrial sector or trade sector or service sector to have the ability of growth without having infrastructure. And infrastructure does not only have the physical infrastructure that we know that of it, like roads, like tunnels, railway systems, public transportation, clean water infrastructure, sewage infrastructure, and so on and so forth. But also now we are considering research and development, we are considering education and research-based universities part of the infrastructure, because if you don't own the technology, if you don't be able to own the technology, if you won't be able to employ the technology, it would be very hard to be a competitive nation, because without employing the technology, without having the technology, you wouldn't be able to produce goods and services at international taste or matching the international taste. So it would be hard for any nation to export their product and services. And of course, this another ultimate goal, because competitiveness by nature is your ability to compete against all nations, and part of it you have to be or you would be a sort of competitive industrial nation, and you cannot be a competitive industrial nation without employing the technology, especially with the pace of the technological development we are witnessing nowadays. And actually the pace is beyond
the development is so speedy also.
Actually it's beyond our ability as experts to comprehend and to keep abreast of it. So this is a journey, and I think Egypt has started started the journey almost 10 years ago, and with very aggressive plans to be among the top 20 top economies all over the world. And of course, that's why we've seen a lot of infrastructures. We are updating our infrastructure, and also part of the infrastructure now is the ICT infrastructure, because you cannot compete, you cannot be resilient. And that's one of the lessons learned actually by COVID-19. Nations who invested a lot in their information and communication technology infrastructure were able to have a speedy recovery.
Yeah.
Definitely, because with if you look back at 2020, when we had the virus outbreak, everyone had to work from home, to learn from home, to do business from home, to run the supply chain from home, to actually have the financial transaction from home. So this put a lot of pressure on the information and communication, or the ICT infrastructure. So that's why countries who invested a lot in their infrastructure, and they kept their infrastructure or the technology infrastructure up to date and robust as maximum, to the maximum actually, were able to survive the outbreak, and even to have a better or a swift recovery from the consequences of the COVID-19. And actually Egypt was one of these countries, according to the World Bank report published 2023. So ICT is becoming now is part
Very
of
important.
it's actually it's a very fundamental, actually it's a backbone for any desired development today and tomorrow and in the near future. And of course, because we are totally dependent on technology in every single aspect of our life, on the personal level, on the governmental level, on the business level.
Yeah.
Definitely, we cannot live without technology actually, and that's why it's very important to keep your technology infrastructure up to date all the time, to keep it agile, to keep it resilient, to keep it based on the latest technologies. That's why you need always so many investment in this very important business sector.
And of course, the key word is sustainable development. But as you said, there are lots of different branches that even back then we didn't know much about it, like the terms itself. But as you also said, Doctor, that since 10 years we've seen like a revolutionary, a speedy revolution in when it comes to AI, when it comes to technology. It's always enhanced. Even the big organizations and institutions right now, and every branch of the normal lives, and also the governmental lives. The governmental sector, I mean, it's divided. It's lots of work have been happening there. And when it comes to AI and technological exchange with different countries, learning from previous experiences, which now lots of international conferences has been happening here in Egypt when it comes to this sector. And I think this kind of merging different minds and from all over the world and expressing their latest when it comes to their experiment in many fields, as you said, it's a brilliant. It's very speedy, and each day there's something new about when it comes to this field, of course, and AI technology. And right now we can see also there's the presidential directives by President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi. He's always directing to open more schools when it comes to encouraging talents, encouraging AI, encouraging technology, and even there's a lot of competitions that is being done in different universities here in Egypt, competing on the high level when it comes to inventing. So I think this is really considered one of the biggest pillars of the sustainable development, the word development itself, when it comes to different branches of life.
Absolutely, and of course I'm biased to the information and communication technology, or the tech domain by nature, because it's my field.
It's your expert.
And I've been there for many years. But if you look at any developed or developing nation, without having technology, without having the ability to create technology, to own technology, to employ technology, it would be very hard to be able to have a sustainable development, or even your ability of growth will be questionable. That's why it's very important to focus on this sector, because it's the locomotive for the development. And by itself as a sector, because this sector in Egypt actually is, I would say, the growth rate of ICT sector in Egypt. We're talking here about double digits. We're talking here about almost 17% per year, which is almost triple any other, or more than triple of any other economic sector. And this sector has the ability to export, or its export actually reached something like 6.2 billion US dollars, and we are very ambitious to double this figure within few years, and we are capable, because we have brilliant brains, and we have brilliant startups, and we have as country so many initiatives in this regards, and we have as a country very robust, very agile, very focused strategies when it comes to artificial intelligence, when it comes to cybersecurity, to the most important emerging technologies related to such the AI, the biotech, the next gen communication system, and of course, because actually this kind of technologies are changing the world. We are witnessing a totally new world order. If you look at Trump irrigation on January 20, almost a month ago, you've seen all the tech giants just standing behind the elected president, and these companies, actually the valuation of these companies on the date of the irrigation, we're talking here about 12 trillion US dollars.
Exactly.
You can imagine the size. And such companies were simply startups like 30 years ago. And we are witnessing their ability to grow, their ability to create wealth, their ability to change the way we conduct life, the way we conduct business, the way we do things. And this is the typical definition of technology. And if you look at the top 20 companies all over the world when it comes to the market cap, 95% of them were or actually are tech companies, and
Exactly, yeah.
100% of them were just startups. So by owning the technology, by converting the technology into marketable product or service that people are paying money for it, and this is actually the true definition of innovation. That's why Egypt is very keen to build this sector, and entrepreneurship is becoming on the top of the agenda of the Egyptian government, and we've seen there is a ministerial committee for entrepreneurship to boost this sector, because this kind of companies, their ability for growth is unlimited actually, and if a company started today and they have a real value, and within a year or two they could be a unicorn, or they're with a market cap more than 1 billion US dollars, and it's happening now in Egypt. So we have 11 models among us. So this is very important to focus on this sector by itself, and also this sector would be the backbone for any other economic sector to grow. Can you imagine a healthcare sector without technology? Can you imagine agriculture sector without technology? Can you imagine industrial sector without technology, service sector without technology, logistics system or supply chain sector without technology? That's why this kind of sector, or this sector actually is the main pillar for development, and that's why Egypt is focusing on building the capabilities of this sector, having venues for employing very advanced technologies, and starting from the governmental sectors, starting from having the concepts and principles of industry X.0 or 4.0 within the different industrial sector, industrial projects now taking place in Egypt. We are hearing now a lot about implementing smart agriculture, smart irrigation system to boost the productivity of our agriculture sector. We are now focusing on technology in transportation system, and we're having so many projects when it comes to logistics and smart logistics system. Egypt is building smart cities that totally actually empowered by technology, because smart cities actually is not becoming a luxury anymore, because we have so many pressure on cities here in Egypt and all over the world. The world is witnessing people moving from rural areas to urban areas every day by 75,000 persons per day.
Wow.
So this is actually, we are today, I would say we are living, or I would say like 50% of people all over the world living in cities. By 2050, 2060, 75% of the world population will be living in cities. That's why having smart cities is not becoming an option. You need to optimize the resource
anymore.
Definitely, you cannot depend on the old, outdated notions of running a city, or having a way for optimize your resources. That's why it's, again, technology is always there for boosting the competitiveness of our cities, and of course boosting the competitive of our cities, boosting the competitive of our industrial sector, our agriculture sector, healthcare sector, logistics sector, service sector. This will be actually the main driver for having a real sustainable economic development, and of course this will boost your ability to grow your GDP, and definitely this will be affected, or actually citizens will be affected, because you'll have the ability to increase the GDP per capita, and of course having a better life for citizens, having a better life for businesses. You have the proper environment, or the more attractive environment to attract foreign direct investment, and foreign direct investment means more job opportunities for youth, more job opportunities for many different segments within the society, and of course again it's a continuous efforts, and of course you are taking one step after another, and definitely towards having a competitive nation, because competitiveness is actually becoming a way for survival in very competitive worlds.
Exactly, and now all over the world, not just
Definitely.
Yeah,
Definitely.
This kind of experience exchange, as you said, because AI and technology is always everywhere, as you said, also in the sectors, and in enhancing like a better life, urban development, sustainable development, greenery, whatever we are talking about here, it's indulging with the technology and the AI. I've seen it before, even the last urban forum, they did talk about sustainable development, smart cities, without, of course, with the keenness of preserving the earth and the temperature and all of that. It's all calculated. It's because of more AI, more information technology, which is indulging, which I think this can even shorten the distance between reaching your goal. You want to do that, and on the other hand, with the help of AI and with the help of technology, it's all one package. I guess that you can never speak about sustainable development without speaking about AI and technology, technological information, and even this year even, at the book fair, we also had like this sector about AI and technology. Nowadays, it's always in each and every universities. They are more and more enhancing, opening more branches of AI and technological information technology. So I think it's all one thing that leads to progress, leads to a better life for nations, competitive nation, and of course a better life for everyone, which is, I think this is the goal of any government across the world, not just here.
Definitely. Actually, I was privileged to have a talk in World Urban Forum that took place in November
Yeah.
last year, and also I was privileged to have a talk about this subject in book fair that took place last month, actually, here in Cairo. Of course, this shows we are totally aware of the importance of having such technologies within the country. And of course, because simply we cannot have the option for missing this wave of technological development, because this will widen the gap and will hurt your ability for growth seriously. And if we are going to miss this wave, actually our ability as a nation for growth will be questionable, will be debatable. That's why there is a great focus from the government of Egypt, and this and it was very clear sponsorship of His Excellency President Sisi, and he's always talking about the importance of having a very competitive
The educational
ICT.
sector also, and indulging that.
Definitely, because we are actually, technology is altering the jobs all the time. That's why you need to have more adaptive way of acquiring knowledge. That's why we've seen a lot of initiatives when it comes to continuous education for lifelong learning.
Exactly.
Such initiatives now are available even for kids in primary schools, not only for youth in secondary schools or in undergrad or the postgrad students, or even for the people who want to change their career. To have a career shift, and this available for all Egyptians.
This is getting more easy, like it wasn't like that before, let's say again, because now they are encouraging, even if you finish whatever state of education, then you can cope up with whatever is, or follow up with the latest, which is technology, which is digitalizing anything. It's all connected again, and this is very interesting that you can finish, you can be like in any age, and then you can enhance more and more of knowledge, and to be also like head to head with what's going on around the world, like to you be more or less ignorant, and you open a new field maybe for you in the future.
Of course, digital literacy is another thing that is not an option anymore. We need to have digital skills all the time, and we need to update our digital skills all the time. Maybe a few decades, you don't need to upgrade your skills for 10 or 20 years. Now you need to upgrade your skills actually every 3 months.
Exactly.
This is a fact. Actually, it's scary, but this is a fact.
Yeah.
Because the technology is always imposing new business models all the time. The job market is always changing, because anything can be automated, will be automated. That's why people could lose jobs if they are not able to acquire new skills, because of course technology is not eliminating or eradicating jobs. Actually, it's changing jobs, and for each new job I need totally new skill set. So there is no school on the planet would give me such new skill set unless I have the most important skill, is the ability to learn all the time. I need to learn how to learn all the time. This is a very important skill that we need to acquire, because actually this would be the foundation for acquiring any new knowledge. Few months ago, we don't have the generative AI like the ChatGPT or whatever.
Yeah.
Today we have such a tool, and we need to use it all the time, and we need to get the maximum out of it. And of course, no one will give you the skills required to learn how to talk with the machine.
Exactly.
And ask questions, and going for a debate, and have a sort of different way of thinking to validate the outcome of the generative AI, and re-ask and have get an answer back, and then you have another dimension that you need to add. So no school on the planet will give you such skills. So if you don't have the ability to learn all the time, you simply will be out of the job market, regardless of your background, regardless of your age, regardless your previous
Yes.
experience.
Yes.
So it's very challenging, but this is the fact actually. That's why the World Economic Forum launched in 2020 a very important initiative called Reskilling Revolution, for reskilling 1 billion people to be able to do to actually have the right skills and becoming technology proof in the job market. Otherwise, such people will lose their jobs. And of course, this is a very serious issue. That's why we are always asking people to know what's going on, to have a look what's available, what's new, to try everything. And especially now we are living in an information age, and the information is available and free of charge, and the authenticated knowledge is there. We have here in Egypt the Egyptian Knowledge Bank. It's the largest knowledge bank all over the world, and again it's free for Egyptians. You have the initiatives coming from the government of Egypt for upgrading your skills or acquiring new skills in the most advanced technologies. Just name it: artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, augmented reality, virtual reality, extended reality, digital arts, digital marketing, just name it. So the knowledge is there. What I need now is to go and acquire such knowledge. No one will push me to go and upgrade my skills. So it's becoming a personal responsibility actually to
work on you.
to work on my skills all the time, and because no one will guide me, and the job market will force me eventually to change the way I do things, because anything can be automated. It will be automated. We are working in the area that the machines do not work in. Otherwise, it would be very hard for people to actually sustain their jobs or having the ability to grow in their career. That's why changing the career is becoming a fact, and acquiring new knowledge is becoming a fact that I need to live with, regardless of my age, regardless of my background. Digital skills is becoming mandatory for everyone, and improving and enhancing and scaling my ability to acquire knowledge. This is again a personal responsibility. Otherwise, it would be very hard for anyone to have a footprint in the very competitive, very tough job market.
Well, you're right, doctor, and of course this shapes your personality and shapes your future. Well, ladies and gentlemen, a short break and we'll be back. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're still following up our topic with my dear guest, Dr. Mohamed Azzam, an entrepreneurship and information technology expert. Well, doctor, of course, off air we've been talking about a lot of topics. I don't think that we can get enough of that, but let's go a little bit through the startups and the entrepreneurships, and how can this be enhanced and developed somehow. So tell us more about that, because you did have something to tell me, but I need to share it with my viewers.
Sure. Actually, startups and entrepreneurship is the key for development. Again, if you look at any economy, the developed economy, if you look at the U.S. economy, the largest economy, talking here about 27 trillion GDP, and the Chinese economy is like 17 or 18 trillion GDP. If you analyze such economies, you'll find startups are the key for such great economies, and the growth of such economies is totally dependent on startups, because their ability for growth is high, their ability for employment is high, their ability to change the status quo is high. So startups are always the main driver for having faster pace for development. because they are disruptive by nature, and they have a technology, and they have very disruptive use models that changing the world. A simple application could be
Could be a
of a
savior.
value could be a value of 200 billion US dollar within few years. No a single none of any industrial or the traditional industrial sectors or economic sector would be able to reach such a percentage or such a pace of development. Only startups and entrepreneurs can do this. That's why there is a great focus on startups. We are helping such startups all the time, because they are really good, and they have great minds, and they have great ideas.
Potentials also.
The potential is the sky, actually, and they have a great technology, and they have great product and services that could be marketable on the international level. And we've seen two of them are listed in international stock market, and we've seen a single company working in fintech and logistics was able to attract 370 million in one round of investment here in Egypt. Wow. So they are changing the landscape, actually, and they could change the landscape of the Egyptian economy forever. And if you look at any international report like Forbes 30 under 30, 75% of the top startups in Africa and the Middle East are coming from Egypt, simply because we have very good brains, and we have the capacity to innovate, and the innovation ecosystem here in Egypt is well developed. We witnessed a huge development over the last decade, and the beauty here, everyone within the ecosystem, each stakeholder is willing to help startups to the maximum. We are always backing up such startups. We are mentoring them. We are trying to enhance or help them to enhance their business model, to enhance the way they employ technology in their product and services. We are opening venues for them to be exposed to international experience, and to meet with their international peers, and open channels with international venture capitalists or the international community for investment in technology. We are helping them to apply or implement their product and services within the Egyptian governmental projects that are taking place, to give them the credibility, to give them the reference, to give them the confidence. And this is what happened.
The data, actually, the information, the help with the market, the statistics, maybe.
And we are opening venues for them for acquiring business as well, to become the first paid buyer, which is very important in the ecosystem of the startups, because this will give them the credibility, this will give them the confidence, this will enhance their business model. This is what happened in China, by the way. Most of the giant tech companies in China were developed like this at the beginning, like 20 or 30 years ago. Startups, and they had the ultimate support from the government, and the government opened so many venues through the international ties to export their product and services to so many countries. And look at the tech giants in China. Now they are competing, or actually exceeding their peers in the United States and Europe, actually, and this becoming part of the trade war between China and United States.
And it's not just that, but the trade here also is changing somehow, according to atmosphere, exporting commodities and different food, which is only implanting here in Egypt, exporting here, but only the startups and the entrepreneurs also been, as you said, the government encouraging them so much when it comes to everything they need, so they can in no time they can be expanding maybe in Asia, in Africa, and everywhere with the help of the governmental help, with the information technology, with the data, with the statistics, and of course with the first baby step for them when it comes also to different institutions, which is, in my opinion, this is nourishing the whole flourishing, also the whole economic system. It comes from startup, as you said, in Europe and here and there. But Egypt have been rapidly growing when it comes to entrepreneurs. She, he, old, young, all have the motive, they have the ability and the brain to it.
Definitely, and of course, this is very important because actually this will change the mindset about Egypt and within the international community of startups and entrepreneurship, because having so many successful examples would help or open the appetite for international investors to come and see such great brains and to meet with them and inject investment within such startups. And of course, such kind of investment is very high quality investment, because the role of investors in high-tech sector is not only injecting funds but also opening international businesses for the startups. So this could change the way we do things. To our exports of technology would be totally different, and of course this will help other to follow the same model, to follow the same path. That's why we are meeting all the time with graduating students in universities, talking with them about their projects and guiding them for having more implementable projects and for their graduation projects, because we are seeking great ideas. The great idea by itself, it has no value. That's why we need such great ideas to be implemented in a form of a product or service that has an economic impact as well as social impact, because this opens a lot of venues for employment directly and indirectly. This will open venues for foreign direct investment in very sophisticated sector. This will help others to come to Egypt to having more investment, to open more new incubators and accelerators for such great ideas. So a lot of dynamics is taking place in such sector, and of course there is a real partnership between the government and the private sector, the multinationals here in Egypt, the non-governmental or non-state actors, NGOs and the non-state actors. We are all working together for helping and boosting this sector to the maximum, because actually such great minds, from young ladies and gentlemen, really they have great ideas. They deserve the ultimate support, and the ultimate support is not only financial support, by the way.
Yes.
The non-financial support is more important to enhance their business model, to have a workable business model, to have the ability to adjust their technology to meet with the requirements of the market, of course, because the market is always open, and the international market is really severe, and the competition is cutting throat competition, and of course because you are competing against everyone in the world. You are competing against startups coming from the United States or from Europe or from China or from New Zealand. So the competition is really harsh. That's why we are helping them to meet the international standard, to be up to the international standards, and to create the real value, because what makes the difference is having a real value, to have a distinguished value. You have innovative solutions for addressing underserved sectors. Your ability, we are focusing on their ability to grow. That's why we are helping them to develop technology and business model in fast-growing sector, not actually a slow growing sector, even if this sector is large. We are seeking different areas that underserved, the ability of growth is high, or the potential of growth is high, and we are pushing such startups to work on that. And we have tens and tens of great examples here in Egypt, and the potential is beyond our imagination. That's why everyone is giving hand to such great minds. Everyone is sincerely supporting this ecosystem, and we are working all together in a very harmonized way to build more robust, more advanced ecosystem, because actually this is a true future for the Egyptian economy and society. Will be based on such great minds and such great startups and entrepreneurs.
Well, Doctor, I can tell that it's all entwining together. In the end, the impact is way much than expected, because right now all the youth, they do have, as you said, helpers in different fields, what they need. Tech, it's not just fun, it's about the directions, because sometimes you do have an idea, you want to achieve it, but you don't know where to start. So this is where they got lost, and maybe they have the solution in front of them, but the more even, I guess, they can cooperate with different institutions. I bet the advice will always be data information and data information. So I bet it's all connected together, and in the end, it do reveal in a proper, nice way, which is, I bet now all the eyes are focused on Egypt, the market, the new industries, and now we can, I bet there were many protocols from the side of the Egyptian government enhancing this and trying to open markets even for different factories like cars and others. And of course, we cannot have enough of this topic, Doctor. We need another episode. But well, I have to thank you so much for coming to our studio. And of course, I'm so delighted to be accompanied by Dr. Mohamed Azzam. He is an entrepreneurship and information technology expert. Of course, next time we'll be talking about it more. And thank you so much for your time. Wishing you a great night, and thank you for being with me. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Always pleasure and honor. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, we came to the end of this episode. Promise we'll be back next week with more diverse segments and topics. Until then, it's goodbye.